Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to another video. So today we're going to talk about everything that's not right with Battlefield 6. Now don't get me wrong, Battlefield 6 Open Beta is just incredible. I really enjoyed playing it. Even if you give me the choice between playing this Open Beta with all the weapons that it has and those 4 maps instead of 2042 until the launch of Battlefield 6, I'll be downright okay with that because I just like how the beta plays. I like everything about this game, but that doesn't mean this game is perfect. This game has issues and they need to be addressed. That's basically the purpose of an open beta, to realize what the problems are and to be able to act accordingly. So today we're going to talk about everything that can be changed, balanced, and everything that's probably wrong with this game. I have a list here after like 2 weeks of open beta, and I've been playing non-stop to kind of understand the game. And here is what the problems are in my opinion. So UI and progression system just, kind of feels off. In my opinion, it looks a lot like COD multiplayer. Not like Warzone or anything. It just looks like COD. Honestly, Battlefield has to be something like Battlefield 3, Battlefield 4 when it comes to UI and HUD. And in my opinion, the progression system after every single match kind of gives you that COD feeling. It gives that vibe of, unlocking attachments on weapons and those stuff, giving you everything in that screen. Kind of feels off to me. You guys probably agree to this, but it doesn't look like any previous Battlefield game. So that's something that might need a rework. It's going to be better if they give it some sense of Battlefield, but even if they just stick to this, I don't really mind. But that was something that just came to mind. Another thing that we have here is the lack of a moving target in the firing range. So you might want to test something with a moving target. In my opinion, it's something that has to be there. Maybe 1 or 2 targets that are moving in close range and long range would do the trick. For some weapons like DMR, sniper rifles, if people want to try things out on moving targets, they're going to need at least 1 or 2 moving targets in the firing range. End of round screen should actually allow the weapon customization. Now this is something that was actually annoying me a lot during the open beta. Honestly, it takes some time, sometimes 2 to 3 minutes before the next match starts. And the matchmaking system with all the players trying to play the game kind of feels broken sometimes. And because of that, you have some wait times exceeding 3 minutes, right? Instead of just looking at your progression and doing nothing, you should be able to actually customize your weapons in that screen, right? For the next match to be ready to go. And that was, some sort of common sense to me. And it was odd not to see that right there and having to actually bring this up as an issue with the game. But all in all, I just feel like weapon customization at the end of round screen should be there, and it's really missing. Weapon recoil should and actually will change. At the beginning of my journey in Battlefield 6 Open Beta, I realized that these weapons don't really have recoil. And as I progressed forward and tried to play with other weapons, I really understood that it's not really the case. The weapons do have recoil, but that recoil is something that isn't comparable to something like Battlefield 4. Or maybe even Battlefield 2042, because we have like visual recoil in 2042. We don't have that in Battlefield 6. It's just pure recoil. You're going to feel it if that weapon has recoil. Sometimes maybe the recoil doesn't have a specific pattern, but it's there. You can't deny that it's there. I also previously mentioned that you don't need tap firing most of the times, and that's true, but tap firing is still effective in medium to long range, especially playing against targets that are stationary like snipers or LMGs in mid-range. Tap firing is going to be actually helpful. So the game has recoil, but they are going to change it, somehow tune it to a degree where player satisfaction is met. So that is about that. Some stats are useless, like damage. In my opinion, that's just ridiculous because, you're telling people that this weapon has a damage of 25. Right? For example, the MPX, it has a damage of 25 in the stat bar, but this weapon doesn't really deal 25 damage. Even in close range, 5 meters, it doesn't deal that much of damage. You can go ahead and test that for yourself in the firing range, but that doesn't really make sense. There's a damage drop-off in every single Battlefield game, and you should actually know those ranges. Like this weapon does that amount of damage in under like 20 meters. Anything between 20 to 40 meters, and anything above 40 meters actually deals even less damage, but you have to give people the numbers, the distances and the numbers. You can't really just throw a number there like damage is 25 and, be gone with it, because that just doesn't really work with Battlefield games. So I hope that's going to be taken care of. Also, tanks, IFVs, and even AAs are really slow in this game. If you go ahead and play them, you're going to understand that the turret speed is very slow. Now, this might be realistic and I agree with that, but you know, you shouldn't really just stick to realism for the sake of it. You need to balance things out. They all depend on having engineers standing on them, repairing them, those kind of stuff. They can't really survive alone. They don't have any countermeasures. Probably that will be added to the main game, but it was just something that had to be said. And in my opinion, vehicles in this game can be very, very weak if a squad of engineers know what they're doing. Some of the maps, in my opinion, have some design flaws. Sea Objective in almost every single map is a pain in the butt to capture. Honestly, in Cairo, that's the case. In Iberian Offensive, that's the case. Liberation Peak is on a whole new level. And even Empire State, you know, they can actually hit you from 360 degrees around you from buildings. Verticality in that map kind of sucks sometimes. Also, maps are very, very small sometimes. Something like Empire State feels really small sometimes. Even Cairo, maps like, I don't know, even Liberation Peak feels small. Just comparing it to previous Battlefield titles. In my opinion, they should have given us Operation Firestorm just for the sake of having a big map to know how the game plays. But that map is probably, you know, not ready yet to a degree where they feel comfortable giving it to an open beta. But in my opinion, the lack of a huge map is really, really annoying in this game. And we don't really know how this Battlefield actually plays in a map that's actually large scale. We also don't have an option to not spawn in the beginning of the map. That, in my opinion, is also weird and looks to me like common sense, but sometimes you want to customize your weapon before you spawn. And when you spawn first and then you're allowed to customize your weapon, you're gonna be left behind. Every single vehicle's gone, everyone's gone, and you just start up and you have to basically walk all the way to an objective where there's fighting going on, right? So that is just ridiculous. They really need to fix that. You need to customize your weapons and then, you know, spawn at an objective, spawn on a friendly squad mate or something. Also, close range TTK kind of sucks sometimes, you know, most of the times, because some of the weapons like the M4 kind of shred you in close range. Most of the weapons kind of shred you in close range, and then when you you know, get some distance, the TTK actually drops significantly. They both suck in my opinion. Long range TTK and close range TTK both need to be tuned. Long range TTK in my opinion is just a bit too slow. The close range TTK is just too fast, so that also needs to be tuned. Footstep sounds most of the times are, you know, are not there. They don't exist. They might exist actually, but you know, the amount of chaos and, you know, background noise that goes on in every single map kind of don't allow you to hear anything. Also, there's one more thing. Friendly footsteps and enemy footsteps have the exact same design, like the exact same sound. Sometimes there's a friendly behind your back and you actually need to look back and check sometimes to see if that was an enemy or a friendly. That's how bad things are. So enemy footstep and friendly footstep should be having some distinguished sound design so you can actually know what's going on around you. There are also some scoreboard elements missing. You don't really know how many people you revive, if you revive any. You don't know how many people you resupply. You don't actually know how many vehicles you've destroyed. In my opinion, those things actually matter in a Battlefield game. So you need to be able to see every player's stats in the scoreboard on revives, vehicles destroyed, resupplies, and things like that. So some scoreboard elements are really missing there as well. SMGs in this game are completely useless and trash, and the reason for that is the ridiculous hipfire accuracy of assault rifles and carbines in this game. Just think about this. Imagine you have a carbine like the M4 and an SMG like the MPX. Is there anything that MPX can do that the M4 couldn't? If you think about it, there's really nothing. The M4 has exactly the same hipfire accuracy. It has more damage, less damage drop off per distance, and you don't really have a reason to play an SMG. The SMGs don't actually provide any advantages over the assault rifles or carbines, so in my opinion, SMGs are really losing their identity here because of hipfire accuracy and, generally speaking, carbines and assault rifles being overpowered in this game. So there are some serious balancing stuff that these guys need to be doing right now, and I'm pretty sure in Battlefield Labs things are a bit better because those builds are newer, they've been worked on a lot more, and you know, they're being tested every single week by people after the open beta, so I'm pretty sure that is going to be also addressed. And finally, assist count as kill doesn't really work. Not really sure if that's broken or they just meant it to work like this, but it doesn't really count that assist as a kill. You don't actually see your kill count increase in the scoreboard. You just get the score for it. Now, that in my opinion is completely stupid. If you're going to put assist count as kill like that, just remove it already because it doesn't really matter. If I deal 95 damage to someone and someone someone else kills it, if you want to count that assist as a kill, actually go ahead and add 1 kill to my scoreboard stats, right? So just giving me the score doesn't really make sense because that's not assist count as kill. That's just some assist giving you enough points as a kill. You know, it doesn't really make sense in my opinion. That wasn't the case in Battlefield 4. The way it is right now doesn't make sense. Assist count as kill should work as intended. That was everything that came to my mind during this 2 weeks. Hope you guys enjoyed and hope this video was helpful, somewhat informative. If you think that you have something in mind, an issue with this game that I didn't mention, do make sure to go down in the comment section. Let me know what that is. Also, let me know what you think about the video and hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you all guys for watching, and until next time guys, stay cool.